Hello, welcome to another episode of Daily Wisdom Words. I am your co-host, Rini O'Day.
Hey everyone, I'm Neil Torelli and I'm your co-host. We want to thank you for joining us today and give you a very warm welcome to our latest episode.
Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific as we talk to guests who have stories, advice, and life hacks, all of which take you one step closer to the feeling of hope.
It's a pleasure to welcome Kundalini yoga instructor Bhakti Teja today. Hi.
Hi,
Bhakti. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm so excited to be on here. There's so much wisdom that's already just channeling through. I don't know if you guys see this little ray of light here.
Yes.
Yeah,
I did see that.
Yeah.
I love, having on recording extraordinary phenomenon that sometimes we're not just aware from our day-to-day life, but that's a little golden chain.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And it's shining on you, which tells us a lot.
Yeah.
Besides being absolutely beautiful, you just have this glow about you. So,
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. And before we start, it's tradition that I like to tune in to create sacred space and tune into each other and tune into our higher selves. Yeah. So
do
let's
it.
put our palms together.
I am so open.
Okay.
I am so open.
All right. So let us begin. Let's put our hands together, rubbing them briskly. Activating the solar centers that we have in the palms of the hands, our chakras, our nadis, generating heat, and setting them at the center of the chest. The thumb is pressed against the sternum. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Hold the breath. Roll the shoulders up and back. Spine is nice and tall. Chest is lifted. And exhale. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. Now the mantra that we're going to chant together is 5 words. It is Ong. O-N-G. Namo. Guru Dev Namo. So repeat after me. Ong.
Ong.
Namo.
Namo.
Guru. Dev. Namo. Ong. Beautiful. Ong Namo to that great creative essence, the divine sound currents. In the beginning, there was the void, which is known as Om, O-M. And then came Ong, which is a great creative essence, a manifestation of Om. Guru Dev, to the high teachers, the ascended masters, our ancestors, we welcome you, the angelic realm in the sacred space in all directions. We are also tuning in to our innate wisdom. Namo, Namo, we are humble, we're grateful, we are tuning into our heart centers. We can channel the messages for those who come forth in this special podcast today. And relax the hands down.
That was lovely.
That was, yeah. Do you want to start by explaining what that, the significance of that, what we just said?
First of all, I want to point out how Neil is already smiling. He's feeling the effects of the sound.
I feel buzzing. I feel like my body is all tingly and
Especially if it's your first time. Firstly, when we're chanting sacred mantras, And mantras are in a special language. Mantras are usually in a language that we don't speak from person to person. It's more as we're only chanting them in sacred prayer. So, there's a couple of mantras that are in, let's say, a Sanskrit or Tibetan Sanskrit and Gurumukhi. So in Kundalini Yoga, we chant in Gurumukhi. And what's Gurumukhi? Gurumukhi is the language of the Sikhs in the Sikh tradition.
Of the Sikhs.
Of the Sikhs. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So Gurumukhi literally means from the mouth of the Guru, or from the mouth of the enlightened being who is connected straight to source or God. So when we're chanting mantras in the upper palate of our mouth, we have 84 meridian points.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're going to get it. Yeah, we're going to get into that in a little bit, like, in our other questions. There's going to be, like, talk about this connection between the spiritual aspect of the mantras as well as the, like you said, biologically and physically. So in a little bit, that's going to be one of the questions. So I can't wait to ask you that when the time comes. Let's start with, we've all heard of yoga, and we have a general idea, most of us, of what it is. And there are several different types. And you, of course, your specialty is Kundalini yoga, right? So can you explain what exactly is that, and how is that different from what our perspective of usually yoga is in a general sense?
Right. So there's 22 main kinds of yoga. What we call here in the U.S. is regular yoga, right? The Americans call it. So what is regular yoga? Basically, it's hatha or vinyasa or ashtanga. And that kind of yoga is based off of asana. Asana meaning posture.
Posture.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because they really concentrate on your posture. I remember that.
So all yogas are great. They all lead you to the same place, just in different tempos with different modalities, right?
Yeah.
So, Patanjali was a great yogi who set down a foundation or a sort of steps or limbs, kind of like a guideline for the yogis. And the first step, the first two steps is actually yamas and niyamas, which everyone tends to skip. As a yogic teacher, I don't really see a lot of people talking about what is a yama and what is a niyama. Right. So that's before we start practicing yoga. So the yama and niyamas basically are moral and disciplinary restraints, ethics, values. So basically what I'm trying to say is there's 22 kinds of forms of yoga. And Kundalini yoga is the umbrella of all yogas. Why? Because Kundalini, we have the asana, which is the posture. We have the breathing techniques, which is called pranayama. We have the dhyan yoga, which is the deep meditation. And we also have the bhakti or the mantra yoga, which is the chanting of sacred sound currents. So we are involving all of these aspects in one class. So, and a lot of people notice that they have an accelerated form of healing through this practice. Why? Because we are involving so many, we're actually just involving the complete form of yoga.
Right.
I love that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Because you incorporated 22 kinds of yoga into one class. I've never even ever heard of that. So how did you get into this? How did you become who you are in this, in this spiritual realm that you're in, I guess? Would that be right? I mean, I don't even know.
So sometimes we have in life something called, in the spiritual realm, dark nights of the soul. So dark nights of the soul are a series of obstacles that will push your soul, your higher self, to embark on your destiny, to embark on your mission. Let's say you're just so way off these dark nights of the soul obstacles will kind of push you back into the direction that you should be. So it's interesting because at that time I met someone, she's a really good friend. Her name is Avatara. And Avatara has been on the spiritual path way longer than I have. And she is a clairvoyant, a psychic.
Wow.
So when I met her, she just totally read my aura, totally read me. And she said, hey, you know, have you ever done Kundalini yoga? You need to be practicing Kundalini. And this was like 6 or 7 years ago. And I really didn't know anything about yoga or meditation. So I started doing research, and thereafter she invited me to do a class online with one of my favorite teachers. Her name is Guru Jagat, and Guru Jagat just recently passed away, and she was very young. So sometimes, you know, we finish our mission here that our energy is needed in the spirit realm, where we can do much more than just the physical body. So she popped up, she opened the computer and we did a Kundalini class online, and I was watching the whole time. I'm like, this is so weird. I'm like, what is this? We're like, we're chanting mantras. Like, what does this mean? You know? So I literally just sat and watched the whole time. So, you know, later that night, I went on the computer and, you know, started to do more research and found out how beautiful it was that all the mantras talk about God, talk about the universe, or whatever you think God is, you know. I'm like, wow, okay, this is interesting. Let's try it. So the next day I actually tried it out. And kid you not, by the end of the class, I was in pure bliss. My consciousness was in a very elevated frequency. I saw the whole world was even brighter, more details I could see. And it was an experience of my life, because at that moment I decided, wow, I want to feel like this every single day. So I committed.
You found your passion. You found what you were supposed to do.
Yeah. And very often,
I admire that.
You know, not everybody finds that, or at least sometimes it takes them way more years than it did for you or me or anyone else. So that's really great that you were able to sort of find that path and then follow on to that path. So really great. So, you know, earlier on, I said that we'd get into this a little bit. You talked about the mantras, the exercise that we did in the beginning. A lot of people seem to have this misconception that things like yoga and meditation, right, are just based on spirituality and nothing. But, you know, so can you go bust that myth a little bit for us and talk about the biologically benefits of, you know, some of the things that you teach in your sessions, and, you know, physiologically and scientifically, what is the significance there? Because a lot of people,
how they change your body.
Right. Some skeptics may like say, oh, that's that new age stuff, or, you know, that hippie stuff, you know, but they don't realize a lot of this stuff is biologically advantageous to us as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So can you talk about some of the benefits of what you do? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some people, you know, call it pseudoscience or whatnot. It's very interesting. So that's why in Kundalini Yoga we emphasize, like, even if you're skeptical, you know, try it for yourself and let yourself have the experience, because we can read about it, we can write about it, but if we don't have the experience, we will never really know. Firstly. Secondly, like I was mentioning before, you know, the science of mantras. Before I continue on that, I just want to say that science and spirituality are not far from each other. They are actually one and the same, because one is based off of intuition, which is a higher knowing. Sometimes our intuition is so advanced that science cannot and is not catching up to it. Unfortunately, not yet, you know?
Right.
So the science of mantras is that we have 84 meridian points in the roof of the mouth. Just like in traditional Chinese medicine, we have different reflexology points all over our body, and those meridian points are connected to an organ, for example, right? So these reflexology points on the roof of the mouth, when we're chanting mantras, and what is a mantra? It's basically a sound current or frequency or a vibration that is repeated over and over again. Example, if we're chanting Ong, 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 we are repeating that same point in our in the roof of the mouth. And for example, we're chanting Ong. Let's take Ong as the example. The NG, the tongue will be at the roof of the mouth at the center, and you can literally feel that vibration in your center of the brain, which is connected to your pineal gland, which is connected to the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the brainstem, and therefore the brainstem connects all the way to the spine. And the spine is connected to your entire nervous system, right? So everything is connected, you know, and different mantras will have a different effect, because I like to say that the mind is like a computer and the meridian points is like a keyboard. We're constantly pressing these codes to unlock and secrete certain chemicals in the brain. What the mantras do is a chemical secretion like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and that's why we feel that extreme bliss during meditation when we're chanting mantras.
And, you know, we are children of the universe. We are stardust. We are from there. And so, I mean, of course, we're going to, you know, feel that and that connection, at least to myself. That's what I feel. That's what I think, you know. Sweetie, what is radiant health?
What is radiant health? So radiant health is a health, looking at it as a holistic health. Basically, health as a whole, right? As a mind, as a body, and as the spirit, our emotional intelligence. So radiant health is basically looking at all these aspects. And, you know, usually from day-to-day life, we only focus on the physical body. In order to grab more light, we must establish a strong physical body, but also we must purify our emotions, purify our thoughts, so we can achieve this, what we call radiant health.
So you talked a little bit about your background earlier on, and I know that you've explored this journey of wellness, right? Both in Western culture as well as Eastern culture. What are some of the key differences that you've observed on this path of yours?
From my experience, they are very different. Very, very different. You know, in Eastern medicine, we are a little bit more spiritual, as you can say, because we involve, you know, the chakras, for example. And the chakras, you know, some people would think like, oh, that's something that I can't even see, like, does that even exist, right? So people that, and people that really have their intuition, their clairvoyance, their third eye, their pineal gland decalcified, can start seeing just beyond the 3D. It all starts in the pineal gland. Unfortunately, you know, in the West, we have a lot of fluoride, which tends to calcify and blur our vision. You know, I know in, you know, World War II, they were using fluoride to make the people weaker minded and weaker nervous system. So, you know, now all I get is natural spring water, alkaline, an alkaline diet. And that's just one of the many things, you know.
Here's to water.
And you know, in Western medicine or Western science, or in the pharmaceutical industry, they would claim that fluoride is good for your teeth. You know, it makes your teeth whiter.
Yeah. I mean, it might help prevent cavities, but it's also causing your brain to have plaque and just garbage in it.
Yes, and see, the difference between Western medicine and Eastern medicine is like Western medicine has side effects. Eastern medicine comes from the natural source, right? So there is no side effect unless you're taking the wrong dosage of whatever it is. Western medicine in the pharmaceutical industry, we have opiates, you know, Tylenol, whatever. And all these prescriptions are coming from the natural herb. However, they're created into a synthetic chemical. Right? So for me, it's like an oxymoron. Why are we using the synthetic chemical when we can just be using the natural thing that comes from the source?
Isn't that what the rainforest is for? I mean, the rainforest is medicine. It's medicine. That's where we get medicine from. And they're burning it down. And it's like, no, stop. We're not going to be able to live on this planet without the rainforest. Because it also gives us a third of our oxygen.
Absolutely. And, you know, don't get me wrong. I do appreciate and value what Western medicine has to offer, because there's a lot of great ideas and progression. However, it's not being used in the highest integrity.
Exactly. That is different. Oh my God, you are just amazing. You're so classy, because that was the perfect way to say that. A lot of people would have said, you know, it not as nicely as you did, but you just said it in a very classy way, and I love it. So, you know, so using that. So, but anyway, so I was telling you that we have something in common, and you started your journey because of like nutrition and food, and you have a lot of like chefs and cooks in your house. Hello, my oldest son is a chef, and my husband cooks like a chef. He's never been to school, but he cooks like a chef. And so, but then you got smart and you went on that journey of wellness and healing. And I'm over here having, you know, pancakes in the morning going, I shouldn't be doing this. But anyway, can you tell us a little about that? Because that was fascinating.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta.
Yeah. Indulge.
And another thing, you know, piggybacking on Neil's question, food, right? We live in such a fast-paced society where, you know, most of the time if you're not an entrepreneur, you know, we're working from 9 to 5, and so we're used to this fast-paced society where instead okay, I'm going to order Postmates, I'm going to order a delivery, I'm going to order this. The difference between someone else making your food than yourself, or that's why some people even say the mother's food is the best, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
because your mother makes your food with love, and that's an energy, and you can feel that.
Yeah.
Right. So what am I getting to? Just like mindfulness, practicing more mindfulness and really being in the present moment, because we're so used to thinking of what we're going to do next, and including in conversations, including in when we're communicating with each other. Most of the time, people are thinking about what to say next instead of being present and actually listening to what that person is saying.
So this is we actually asked a couple of people to send in, you know, a question or two, and we got a couple. So this is actually from one of my friends, but they asked that, is there one particular method of meditation or a yoga routine that that's either your favorite or the one you find most in sync with, rather than, because like in the beginning you mentioned like 22 different types, and you mentioned how Kundalini sort of incorporates all of that, but is there one either particular routine or a breathing technique that you find yourself most in sync with?
You know, that question, you can go in so many ways, because, for example, we each have different personality traits. you know, we are different. For example, zodiac signs. I'm an Aries. I would tend to look for something that's more physically
my husband's
active.
an Aries.
Oh.
This is Kona.
Mascot,
this is our
podcast mascot.
This is my little girl.
Oh my God, so adorable.
Everybody needs a baby, right? Mine are all grown up, so I needed a new baby.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
My husband's an Aries. So I'm really fascinated about what you're saying.
So when we're in a certain sign, we tend to have that certain energy of whatever that zodiac sign is, for example. And it goes deeper than just the sun sign. There's moon, rising, there's houses, there's the planets. So it's very precise in the time you were born, the day you were born, where you were born. And then we have something called numerology. Numerology is the numbers based on your birthday. And each of those numbers will have a certain energetic frequency on the latitude and longitude of when you were born. So that will give you a certain characteristic trait. So you will tend to be magnetized to, I want to do more breath work, or I like to do more meditation, or maybe you like to do the asana more. So it really depends on the individual.
Well, you did Neil, right?
You Correct? Did a numerology. When we talked the first time over the phone,
tell us about
and I remember
Neil.
You said something that almost like brought me to my birthday was March 3rd, 1983. And what does that add up to? Like, you had said something about a master or something like that it comes to?
March 3rd, 1983. For example, March 3rd, you're a number 3. So the month will symbolically, it's going to be your karmic number or your master number, something that you need to work on. In Neil's case, it is 3, right? And March 3rd, the day will symbolize your soul's number, meaning what you need to practice on to be more tapped into your soul.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And what's your year of birth?
1983.
Oh, 83.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I said master number. So the last 2 digits of the year of birth is your gift.
Oh.
So your gift is your 11. So 11 is a master number, right? So that already you have achieved a lot of wisdom in your past lives, and you're bringing it into this life, and you're helping other people share their innate gifts. So it's interesting because you're March 3rd, you have 3, 3, and 11. So 3 and 3 has to do with the solar plexus chakra, the 3rd chakra, which is the navel, which has to do all about action, willpower, taking the initiative, you know. So you, Neil, anything that you do, a physical practice that has to involve the navel, let's say it's stretch pose or Sudarshan Chakra Kriya, where we pump the navel, breath of fire, another navel pumping would really help you be more neutral and tune into your higher destiny, because you're just really invigorating yourself with your navel.
Yeah. So one of the things, like, can you suggest like tips or some life hacks or either breathing techniques to, apart from the yoga and meditation techniques that you teach in your sessions and people practice, is there anything that they can in their day-to-day lives supplement that with, either breathing techniques or, you know, especially if they're not able to sit down for 15 minutes and chant, or especially, is there anything like, you know, you're at work and you might be feeling anxiety,
you're about
something to calm
fight
yourself
or
down.
Flight. Flight or fight. Yeah, that.
Right, mode. So are there tips and life hacks for that you could suggest?
Absolutely. The beauty of Kundalini yoga, it is known to be the householder's yoga, because all you really need is 3 minutes of one exercise. 3 minutes anywhere. You don't have to be at home. You don't have to be in front of your altar. You can be at the office. You can have, take a break.
Right.
3 minutes. So it's interesting how you were asking me that, because the first thing that came to mind is spinal flex.
Yes.
And spinal flex is one of the exercises that is scientifically proven to do what? They connected a couple of people while doing this research. So 3 minutes in doing this will literally give you the same brain frequency, the same neutrality as a monk who meditates all day.
Really? Wow.
So how far in meditation have you gotten? Have you gotten enlightenment?
I mean, how far in meditation?
I mean, because everybody talks about enlightenment. That is that's what we strive for in meditation, is what people say. I just believe it's about, going inside yourself and, kind of calming everything down in a sense, and becoming one with the universe. That's how I look at it.
Right. So there was a period of time where I was going on a meditation frenzy. I was waking up at 3:45 in the morning.
That's not even going to bed, girl.
And waking up for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Meditating for 2.5 hours. So you would have to build your lifestyle around this discipline, and we call it sadhana. Sadhana in the Amrit Vela. So sadhana means spiritual practice. Amrit Vela means in the morning time, before the sun rises.
Oh,
so I would probably go to sleep like 8, 9, 10, and I was meditating for 2.5 hours at this time for a whole year. And this was, before the pandemic or whatnot. So I had very extraordinary experiences, because the thing is that why is it so special to meditate during this time? Usually we're sleeping, and what happens when we're sleeping? Our subconscious is wide open because we're very relaxed. We're going into that theta and delta brain frequencies, and then we start dreaming. And when we start dreaming, sometimes we can see very, lucid or vivid colors. It seems so real. Why? Because our pineal gland secretes a chemical compound called dimethyltryptamine, which is DMT. So we have that naturally in our minds, right? Anything that's external in this world, we can tap into within ourselves. So when you're in this deep meditation, instead of being asleep, you're wide awake. Your mind triggers the DMT in your brain, and you're able to have consciously out-of-body experiences, conscious traveling into other dimensions. And I've experienced this because of this practice, but it takes a lot of discipline. And now you'll see in the New Age communities, people want to do the ayahuasca, people want to do the mushrooms, and people, and there are medicinal properties to these kinds of medicines. However, anything external can be used recreationally or abused very easily. Why? Because we're not taught the yamas and the niyamas. A lot of people want to fly first. Like, I want to tap into my spiritual gifts. I want to be my clairvoyant, clairaudient, whatever it is, Some people just want to fly first, and we don't even know how to walk yet. So we start with foundations from ground up. If not, we can easily be strayed upon our path. Neil asked me about some practical things that we can do. So spinal flex is something that we can do. Is very simple. You're sitting in a cross-legged position, or you're sitting on a chair, wherever you are. all you need to do is put your hands on your knees, and the breathing is done through the nose. We're inhaling, our spine and heart open, and exhaling, we're arching the spine. And in this posture, the chin is in alignment with the spine, and it always stays straight.
Right.
Yeah. So the breathing is a controlled breath done through the nose. And you can do this, take a break, do it 1, 2, or 3 minutes.
Right.
At the end of the exercise, you hold the breath. Sometimes you'll feel the Kundalini energy or sexual energy go up and down the spine.
Right.
And you exhale up then. You change your brain frequencies so fast. Let's say you don't even have 3 minutes. Something that they teach us is very simple and so practical. Everyone should be doing this before you go to sleep. Just like, she was saying, you put on your mantras, you put on your frequencies, binaural beats,
right.
solfeggio, hertz, whatever it is. You can put it, plugged in your ears, or you can have it in the background playing. And what that does is that the sound will go into your subconscious mind when you're sleeping. And it's going to be doing the work for you already. And
right.
that's like a super hack. What I do personally is I have a mantra playing all day in my room.
Oh, okay.
And it can be it can be at volume 1. You don't even have to hear it, but as long as the sound is resonating, it will affect you. It would affect your environments, your whole house, including your neighbors. Because the thing is that sound does not die.
Wow.
Right.
I did not know
I
that.
never thought of it that way. That's amazing. I never had
Sounds
that
everything.
kind of perspective. Yeah.
So try it out. Like play it for a week.
I am.
Choose your favorite mantra and repeat, and see how, like, even people would walk in your house and say, "Oh my God, I love how it feels here. It's great."
Wow.
Why? Because you're constantly playing this.
Yeah.
And if every person would play like a mantra in their home, we would accelerate our healing so fast, and we wouldn't have to do anything.
My house has a revolving door because I have 3 kids, and then their friends come and people come. So I am going to start doing that and seeing,
we're going to try that. Yeah. That sounds fascinating. Yeah. And
if you want to get more creative, like choose your favorite mantra and see what the benefits are of the mantra or the frequency, and see how subtly it changes your life and your family. It's very interesting to just experiment things.
Well, you have convinced me, because I'm going to do it. And kiddo, we have to close this down because we only have a certain amount of time on Zoom, and I don't want them to cut us off.
There was so much we could ask you,
but would you come back? Would you
please come back at some point in the near future? Because there's so many questions that we had for you, and but it's just time is But
I know it gets away from us.
To talk to you more.
But you really are. I know. Really, there are so many things. So could you tell the audience, because we know, because we checked you out, but where they can, well, I follow you on Instagram, where we can find you. You're located in LA, and do you have a studio?
Yes, thank you. So I'm located in Los Angeles, and I do have a registered licensed studio called Raja's Arcana. I do teach. I do teach in person, and I teach every Saturday Kundalini yoga and meditation. There's also different teachers throughout the month that are also facilitating different kinds of workshops, different types of yoga and meditation and techniques. So if you are someone that is a teacher healer that wants to use a space, anyone in LA, more than welcome to. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, Bhakti Bliss. I also have a website that is actually currently under construction, Raja's Arcana, which is the name of the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It has been such a joy having you. It really has. And I feel calm.
I know that this doesn't even scratch the surface of what you put out there. And I know, so there's so much more, but hopefully.
I know, I didn't get to all my questions.
Yeah.
If you come back, I would love it, because I just kept interrupting you. But
no, it's okay. It's like it's the flow of the podcast.
Can I ask what you're wearing? That dress is stunning.
Thank you. Traditionally in Kundalini Yoga, we show up in what I like to call regalia or ceremonial clothing, because we are not only showing up for ourselves, we're showing up for Creator. And this white has it's color therapy. It's a neutralizer for energy. The turban covers the crown chakra. And we have a lot of meridian points on our crown that also are pressured, but that's for another time too.
Another time, yeah. But you look beautiful. That dress is stunning.
Thank you.
I wanted to tell you that. So, okay, kiddo, you have a good day, and we'll be getting in touch with you to do another show, maybe next year after 222. Okay?
Oh, yeah, sounds good. I would love to.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bless
you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and a special thank you to Bhakti for joining us.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at all the links listed in the description. And don't forget to hit like on this video and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to show us a little extra love, we also have a link for donations. Thank you, everyone, once again, and we will see you right here next week at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.